Thank everybody for coming. This year, a 9/11 ceremony was one of the Virginia Sons of the American Revolution President's initiative, meaning that the headquarters wanted all the chapters to be involved in a 9/11 ceremony. As I wondered what we might do, I remembered the Patrick Henry monument to the Leatherwood home of Patrick Henry, and I called Joan Frith and asked about the possibility of having this ceremony today and using this. And the other part that's stuck in my mind is that both organizations, the Daughters of the American Revolution and the Sons of the American Revolution, are not just about history, they're about patriotism. It's not just about yesterday, it's also about today. So consequently, we agreed to try to meet here today and remember the events of 9/11. And just in a real quick brief summary of why we're here, at 8:46 a.m. on 10 years ago, the first airplane crashed into the World Trade Center, the South Tower, and began 4 coordinated attacks against the United States. Within 2 hours, both World Trade Centers had fallen, the Pentagon had been hit, and a hijacked plane had crashed in Pennsylvania. American citizens died that day just because they went to work. 19 hijackers committed a terrible crime against America. And while we don't have the time or the manpower, woman power to read off the names, just in summary, there were 246 victims on the 4 aircrafts. The official count of victims that day were 2,819. Those people represented 90 countries. There were 2,606 deaths in New York City, 125 at the Pentagon. The New York Fire Department lost 343 firefighters. The NYPD lost 23 police officers. The Port Authority lost 37 police officers. There were another 15 emergency medical technicians who died that day helping people. And 3 New York State court officers died rushing into the buildings to help people. Gail and I have been very fortunate to have gone to the World Trade Center twice, several years after the tragedy. And of course, when we went, the debris had been cleared, but you could still see the buildings around, still had the windows torn out. They had tarps hanging down to keep debris from falling down on the workers. And you can still see the giant gaping hole there in the ground. And we've been by the Pentagon numerous times. And when you see the giant hole in the ground at Lower Manhattan, or you go by that massive Pentagon, I just still have a terrible time trying to understand what happened and just how it happened. After the 9/11 event, I read the 9/11 Commission, I read many newspaper and magazine articles, I watched many TV documentaries, and in the past few days I found myself again reading more articles and watching more TV, recounting the terrible events. The DAR sponsors Flag Day in Martinsville and Henry County every June. And nothing symbolizes the patriotism and unity of the country more than the American flag. It reminds us that terrorism can never change who we are. One nation made up of many people. Let us fly the flag from every home. And business to honor those who lost their lives 10 years ago. But patriotism is more than raising and lowering the flag every day. Patriotism is also being a productive citizen. The flag is a wonderful symbol, but we all have to give work to make it have meaning. As Patrick Henry said on March 23rd, 1775, to the Virginia Convention at St. John's Church in Richmond, the battle is not for the strong alone, it is for the vigilant, the active, and the brave. Since this is the Patrick Henry's monument, Joan Frith, would you come up?
Today is the anniversary of one of our country's worst tragedies. we all remember how we watched in horror and disbelief of terrorists attacking the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, and then the plane going down in Pennsylvania. We're here today in honor of those who lost their lives on 9/11/2001 and their families, friends, and loved ones who continually endure the pain, and those who are fighting at home and abroad to preserve our freedoms. The terrorists did not win that day. We found courage and have not lost faith. It is fitting that we be here today at this monument that honors our patriot, Patrick Henry. God bless America.
This week, Joseph Martin, Chapter.
Thank you for inviting me, Bob, to come. Joan, it's nice to be here. I'm going to talk about the trade towers. We watched them being built. We live 26 miles from New York City at in New Jersey on a mountain called Mount Freedom. And you could see the trade towers, and our children would run out to see them, how far they had grown that day. And we watched them grow, go up into the clouds. It was just magnificent to see the view and see those towers go up. And this is the way the towers look. These are the two bright, shining silver towers. They were wonderful. Our children were absolutely amazed at what happened. We never got them into New York City to see them, but in the middle of the 90s, we went back, Jerry and I, to have lunch in the trade towers. And that's when I got this sweatshirt, which shows the trade towers. If you take the Statue of Liberty, this is the way they look. They were just magnificent. But when you're below them, they were so tall that it was hard to get the feeling of how really big they were. Then on 9/11 in 2001, we were at my mother's in Buffalo, New York, and we were watching the Today Show. We couldn't believe our eyes. We saw the planes come in. My husband, who was an air controller in the Air Force, said, "They're going in. The airplanes are flying into those buildings." And they did. And the beautiful towers came down. We will never, never forget this needless disaster and the death of nearly 3,000 people. Thank you.
Thank everyone for coming. I'm standing here on the grounds of the Leatherwood Plantation, which was the home of Patrick Henry. After his term as governor, he lived here approximately 5 years and was a member of the House of Delegates to the Virginia General Assembly representing Henry County while he lived here. Recently, the state sponsored the Patrick Henry Heritage Trail, and there are approximately 8 to 10 locations throughout the Commonwealth in which places that Patrick Henry resided are marked, and pamphlets have been issued. The trail is administered by a commission at St. John's Church in Richmond. Unfortunately, when the trail was developed, this location in Henry County, the Leatherwood home of Patrick Henry, was left off of the trail as a location. This is a very significant place in Henry County history and in Patrick Henry's in his life. He came here and started his home here with a 10,000 acre land grant, and it was later expanded to approximately 12,000 acres. While here, there was a near Tory uprising in Pennsylvania County, in which Patrick Henry was aware of, and also 50 miles to the south, Cornwallis's army marched to Guilford Courthouse, also marched to South Boston. So even on the edge of the frontier here, Patrick Henry was still quite involved in the American Revolution. We would like to see the Patrick Henry Heritage Trail Foundation add the Patrick Henry site here at Leatherwood to the trail as early as possible. It's significant both to the Commonwealth and to Henry County, and an important phase in Patrick Henry's life.